Good morning, everybody. My name is Caleb. I hope you are having a fantastic day. Today, we're going to take a look at Chia forks. Specifically, I've been working with two Chia forks just to experiment, and this video is going to give you the basics, but these concepts are going to be pretty similar across all the forks inside of Chia and other software projects as well. Now, this is designed to be a fairly beginner video, so we're going to start with the basics and talk about source code and what a fork is exactly. So when a project is said to be open source, it means you can go in here and you can see all of the code. So when that's the case, you could in theory go through, copy this code, and make your own project that has the same foundation. And that's exactly what a fork is. If I forked the Chia blockchain, I could create my own blockchain that is very, very similar to the Chia blockchain, but I could just make some few tiny changes that make it different, and then maybe people would consider using my blockchain instead of or in addition to the Chia blockchain. So this will often be based around some disagreement. A lot of these forks disagree with the pre-farm that the Chia company has reserved, so they change that or remove it altogether. And another big example of a fork in the cryptocurrency world is Bitcoin Cash, which disagreed about the block size of the Bitcoin blockchain. So they changed the block size of Bitcoin. It has the same exact history as Bitcoin and works fairly similar, but now can support more transactions per block. And that's basically their selling point. We're like Bitcoin, except we can support more transactions, so we're more like Cash, Bitcoin Cash. And all these Chia forks that are coming into existence, there's a high chance a lot of them aren't going to last or survive, but I would bet that there are going to be a few that do survive. And the reason I think that's the case is because there's something very unique about the way Chia and Chia forks work that does not work the same way with these other cryptocurrencies. So if you have Bitcoin, you have Bitcoin Cash, and you want to mine these cryptocurrencies, you have to make a choice. Which cryptocurrency do you support? And anytime there's a fork, you have to choose. Well, in the world of Chia, you can actually double farm on both of these using the same storage. So you might have a plot that supports the Chia netspace and supports the Flax netspace, for example, or any other fork. So the end result is you can get more out of the same hardware. So it's less of one or the other in the world of Chia, and it might be the case where people choose a few of these forks to support and run the farming software for each one of them in parallel. So this is pretty crazy and might be a little different than what you have experienced with other blockchain forks. Now, before we continue this video, I wanted to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Crypto.com, which is a fabulous app to buy and sell cryptocurrencies, including Chia. Now, I actually don't use Crypto.com for buying and selling Chia. Rather, I use it for the Crypto.com debit card, which allows me to get unlimited cash back on any of my purchases. Basically, I can trade the crypto in my account for a balance on this debit card. So it's a great way to use crypto to buy things, but it doesn't just take it out of your funds. You will basically decide, hey, here's how much I want to top up my card with. It'll transfer over to the card, and then you can use that just like any other debit card, but you get a % back in cryptocurrency. So it's like free money. There's no reason not to do it. It's free to get started, and you can get a $25 bonus when you sign up for the Ruby debit card or higher. So if you want to sign up, use my referral code Caleb and give it a try. So the two Chia forks I decided to try out are Flax and Chives. And these two are different. The first one, Flax, is something that you can run in parallel with Chia. And I'm going to talk about some of the security concerns around that. And then Chives is actually something you cannot use the same plots with because it actually uses a different K size. So K 29, 30, and 31, where Chia is 32 upwards. So this is something where you can dedicate a hard drive to Chives, or you could fill like that little extra space at the end of the hard drive once you've filled it with Chia plots with a few Chives plots. So how you do it's totally up to you, but basically that's something where you don't have to share the same key or do anything crazy. It's not something that's going to use the same plots and be able to farm off the same amount of storage as Chia. Whereas Flax, you can have 100 plots farming on Chia and 100 plots farming on Flax, which, because of this, Flax picked up pretty quick. It was one of the first forks, and I think it has a net space of about 1/10 of Chia. I mean, there's not a huge cost to farm Flax, so why not, right? So this is the Flax website. You can check out the Explorer, currently at 2.6 exabytes. So not quite 10% of the Chia network, which is at like 35, I think. Anyways, you can see some of the selling points of this cryptocurrency. And it says here, existing Chia plots can be used to farm on the Flax network. For the safety of your valuable private keys, we encourage you to audit the Flax source code before deciding to run Flax. We support farming with NFT plots for the entire 2 Flax reward. You will get the 0.25 Flax Farmer reward per block immediately, and the remaining 1.75 pool reward will enter your wallet after 1 week. So what that means is you could farm with NFT plots on Space Pool or some official protocol pool, and you could still get the entire block reward. Because this is a possibility, I think it's probably recommended to go with the forks that do work with NFT plots. It seems like Flax is, willing to keep up to date with changes in Chia and is making sure people are doing what's recommended in Chia and not encouraging to use OG plots. If you have OG plots, you of course can win too as well, but it does work with poolable plots. What's the value of Flax? Well, you should treat it as worthless internet brownie points in the most probable case. So even they acknowledge that this project is fairly early and is not supported on any mainstream exchanges, but we're extremely early to this. And often by the time something does have a value and everybody knows about it, it's too late to earn it at a significant amount. So, earning Flax right now is pretty simple, but it might not be the case once it has mainstream exposure, if it ever reaches that point. The next one is Chives, and this is the one that uses K31, and they have an interesting system where they're planning on having 45% of rewards go to master nodes for those who have a certain amount of Chives locked up, so a similar staking environment to Ethereum 2.0, for example, as well as 10% to community. So it's a pretty interesting approach, and you can go through and read this as well. So let's take a moment to talk about the risk. In order for your plots to cross farm for the ones that support K32, Chia compatible plots, the requirement is that you give your mnemonic, which we all know is bad. So ideally you have your payouts set to cold wallets and you audit the source code, you trust the developers, all of that. I'm not necessarily advocating for either of these chains. I'm just sharing what I've been experimenting with. Do it at your own risk. It's the equivalent of downloading, a decently reputable Chia software that is third party, maybe a plot manager or some OG farming pool, which, all these have their own risks. So do your research and, see what people have to say about the particular fork. You can find all kinds of discords about Chia forks, and we also have a forks channel in the Space Pool Discord. Chives and other people are also working on exchanges for these forks, and maybe one day we will see them supported in a fairly mainstream exchange. So that has been kind of my introduction to these forks. If you want to get started with them, you can just download them. The clients look exactly the same as the Chia client, and they work exactly the same way, so it's really not too much for me to explain how to get started. You just download them and you select your plot directory and you're good to go. So I'm really curious to see how these develop. I'll be following them and I'll be farming some of them just to collect some coin, and maybe in a few years it'll be worth something. Guess we'll have to see. Let me know in the comment section what forks you're farming. I'd be curious to check them out. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, check out the upcoming episodes. I'll see you then.